Last thing that we're going to talk about, transition plans to broad. Okay, you said broad doesn't work, but I believe you that it's the right way to go. And you said, I'm interested in incremental lift, but right now I need a ROAS of X to make things work. What am I going to do? Okay, I got you. I got you. Don't worry. What we need to do here is make a plan. Now, I talk a lot about the one campaign accounts. And to be fair, it doesn't mean that you only have one campaign in that entire account, because there's another ebook that comes right after that called the One Step Beyond One Campaign, of what you do when you've hit the limiting returns of that one campaign. But the point is, if you're spending money in 5, 6, 7 different places on 3 or 4 different business objectives and lookalikes and groups and interest groups and Proxima and Shopify and retargeting, and you're investing in all these places with audiences that maybe you run for 3 months, maybe you run for 3 weeks, and you're just basically hiring employees, spending money to train them, and then firing them right away. Like, when you are not investing in maturing assets, you are investing in depreciating value. That is a very bad investment, no matter what the business is. No business succeeds by focusing the primary efforts of their investment on depreciating assets. That's just not how business works. No economic situation functions properly with profitably on that unless you're shorting the market. Like, I can invest in saying the people that do that are going to probably struggle way more than they're going to be successful, and I'll make money basically betting against them. But this is not how to short the market or any of that stuff. The point here is a transition plan. Don't worry about broad being the best right now. If you start building this one campaign of DCTs, grabbing the post IDs, putting a proving ground, a winning ad set there for all of your best things, running at broad as a separate campaign against everything else, great. Invest in that now, because 6 months from now, you might not need anything else, realistically. But how do you get there? That's the big question. It doesn't have to be the best thing. It just has to be not the worst thing. If we can improve the quality of our weakest link, we're going to get better. Facebook isn't about finding the best ad and then spending as much money on it until it breaks and then starting over. You wouldn't put just Michael Jordan on the court and expect to win, right? Messi can't win against 11 by himself, right? I mean, it's not tennis. Serena Williams can take on somebody else, absolutely, but that's one-on-one. Not the best for this analogy. She's also a badass, so good for her. The point here is, it only needs to be not the worst thing. And when you start to run this, and this one campaign net output is better than the worst option that you have, get rid of the worst option and shift the budget over to the broad. Over time, as it continues to have that compounding effect of getting better and better and better over time, you're going to notice that starts to eat up the budget of a lot of other things. And as it gets better and better and smarter, and you spend more and more money on it, you're also going to notice that your search volume goes up. You're going to notice that your email open volume is going to go up. The clicks you get from broadcasts are going to go up. The revenue that you're making on Amazon is going to go up. The actual organic performance that you get from your social media is going to improve. As a matter of fact, funny enough, when you try to most efficiently reach as many people as possible with highly qualified, engaging advertising, pretty much every facet of your business improves when it comes to revenue generation and performance metrics. Now, that makes sense, right? Good ads to more people makes the other things that I'm doing better. That makes sense. So when you're using interest groups and lookalikes and Proxima audiences and Shopify and retargeting and all this stuff, remember, you are basically steering away from that thing that makes a lot of sense, because something else gets you a better ROAS today, and we're not concerned about that. But let's use that metric to define this transition. If broad can get you a better ROAS today than some other lookalike can, or if it breaks even and can spend more money, turn off this ad set, throw that money over into our broad campaign. Do it slowly. And if that broad campaign is working, you can scale it slowly. One of the things I teach my students all the time in the Facebook Ads MBA program is do 5% Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you are better than, if you're 10% below your efficiency you can afford, increase the budget by 5%. Don't eat up all that margin, but just slowly start to spend into that PSM that you can afford. And you're going to notice more clicks, more traffic, more emails, more search, more organic direct. You're going to be lifting every facet of the business. Now, maybe that comes at the expense of ROAS on Facebook, but even if you're just looking at MER, it's going to get better. Now, Facebook's going to look worse, and that's totally fine. Because we don't care what Facebook looks like. We care about the impact it has on the rest of the business. The point here is, ultimately, you don't have to be winning today with the one campaign stuff. And you don't have to ultimately have an entire account that's stuck down to one campaign. I never said that that's the only thing that you ever need. It's probably the only thing that you're going to need up to a certain point, but it's by no means the limitation. And when I see folks spending $30, $50, $100, $200, $300,000 a day talking a lot of smack about the one campaign strategy, like, first off, they're in a completely different environment. Second, their businesses probably have different needs on the platform. And third, they're really successful doing things in other ways. So I don't expect them to invest heavily in changing what works because they have clients that are basically not requiring them to do this. Now, if it were me, I would still make this transition plan and I would notice how those clients get better and better and better as a result. But if it's working, you don't need to fix it. The point here is those people aren't you. The point is, those businesses aren't yours. You don't have $50, $100, $200, $300,000 a day. Why are you managing your budget and your strategy to match somebody that can lose? There's a rounding error on a daily basis of their spend to the best performance you've ever had. You can't solve those types of problems in the same way. And to be fair, most of them are going to be way less apt to move quickly and adapt. And that's why we see some of the biggest, most famous marketers spending the most amount of money not embracing this type of thinking. So again, the transition plan is pretty simple. Build your one campaign with DCTs specifically designed to take your best ads, and out of the suite of the 4 to 6 best ads you have, the 3 to 5 best ads that you have, build dynamic creatives to improve the worst out of those. If you've got 5 killer ads, just try to make the worst ad better with a new dynamic creative test. Or if you have basically 2 concepts of, we've got 3 influencers that are basically the same video but at different cuts, and we've got a couple of those other images from their like product shots, great. Find something else. Reach different types of people. Maybe all of it is 1x1 video. Why not have a 9x16? Maybe it's all video. Why not a static? Reach different types of users where they want to be reached with content designed to appeal to them. Every ad makes its own lookalike audience. When you're making ads with the lookalike audiences are basically giant overlaps, they're hurting each other. Just like having a lookalike and a broad and an interest group and a retargeting all running on ABO. They're all stealing from each other. Now, maybe you've got exclusions or whatever, so maybe the retargeting isn't there, but you've got a lot of things that are competing with each other in negative competition. Same thing happens at the ad level. So with respect to this, what's more important is that you focus on making sure that the ads that you're testing are designed to improve existing assets or to bring in a new type of audience. If all of your ads are video and I don't want to watch a video, I'm never going to see your ads. Maybe 15, 20% of your market is never seeing your ad because they're not a video watcher. Maybe 20% or 30% or 50% of your market is only watching Instagram stories and reels, and they don't give a damn about your Facebook newsfeed posts, but you've got 1x1s on auto placement, and so you're showing things that don't necessarily work there because you haven't designed for it. Fix that. Maybe you've gone out the road of like, all right, well, I'm going to customize for each placement. You're building a bunch of different ads that don't add value over time. Well, one of them is really good, But because you didn't design specifically to solve one of those problems, the vast majority of your budget is going to what works. And the rest of the budget, where you say, check mark, got that ad covered, isn't getting served at all. The point here is the transition plan from a highly complex 2015 Facebook strategy into something that is built around broad and dynamic ads isn't an overnight shift. It's built around be very specific with your dynamic creatives to improve upon the worst available options that you have that are still good enough to run. And as you begin to outperform existing legacy options of that out-of-date thinking that you're trying to move away from, that PPC logic running on Facebook in 2022 when it was the best thing to do on Google or display networks in 2015, when it outperforms the worst option, just get rid of the worst one and shift the budget over. When you do that, it's not a question of does broad work? It's a question of how long until basically broad is the only audience I'm using. And when you get to that place, you never have to worry about audiences ever again. You are creating far greater lift across your entire ad account. You're able to look at future cash flow and projectable results instead of ROAS today. So you're way more confident in your decisions and way less panicky about day-to-day results. And you've got the roadmap to how to get there. The question is, are you willing to make that investment? My pushback, if you say no, is how many other audiences are you going to test? How many other ads are you going to test? What amount of money did you spend last month on things that you're not spending money on anymore today? If you spend it abroad, you'll never turn it off. It's infinitely scalable. So you have to start thinking in bigger pieces. If you're worried about the audiences, if you're worried about the ads, if you're worried about the bidding models and all of this stuff, you're worried about the pebbles. You're never going to move mountains. That's the biggest liability to your success. Think bigger, and you'll have the $100 million business. Or worry about all the small stuff, you might not have a business to worry about. YouTube thinks you might like a couple of these videos, and you can go ahead and subscribe. If you're listening on the podcast, please, thank you very much. Go ahead and subscribe there. Even if you don't ever listen to it, I don't care. Just go ahead and leave me a review and subscribe. You don't have to listen to it. I really appreciate all this stuff. Drop comments below if you like it. Look down below for all the articles and do all the information that you should absolutely be paying attention to, because believe me, there's a lot of good stuff in there. And smash those links. Learn from me. Connect with me. Work with me. Check that stuff out. Until next time, I'll see you on the internet.